Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Between 2000 and 2002, Jaeger-LeCoultre of Le Sentier rolled out a broad range of platinum-cased blue dial special editions, and they were limited series. This is one of them, the Master Ultra Thin 34 limited edition of 250 pieces. The watch is traditionally beautiful. This is what a men's high-end dress watch would have been back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and it's a throwback to that era. 34 millimeters in diameter. It's only 6 millimeters thick, 1 millimeter of which is actually the display case back. The watch is 40.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it has a spacing of 17 millimeters between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, 16 centimeters circumference, and I can tell you that this watch is an ideal companion because I owned the black-dialed stainless steel version of it for years. It will fit underneath any cuff, and you can see how narrow it is, lug to lug. Even over the top, there's plenty of clearance, and I'm pulling the strap tight. This is suitable for a wrist of any size. It's suitable for a man. It's also suitable for a woman. Even a child could wear it well, though take note, as an ultra-thin watch, it is not recommended as a toy. You can see how easily it'll sit underneath the cuff. You can even see how recessed the case back is, so when it's down on the wrist, it reads even smaller than 6 millimeters, more like 3. And it does have a satisfying heft to it. In spite of its size, platinum is doing its job. Taking a quick look at the strap, it's a sort of cobalt gloss blue, large rectangular scale alligator leather, gloss finish, folded edge, monotone stitch on the underside. You can see calfskin. It is a brand new JLC factory strap, and the watch is equipped with a matching JLC platinum pin buckle. The case is a fascinating piece because, as I mentioned, the case back is recessed deeply. The movement is super slim, and you can see that the stem tube was actually shrink wrapped around the stem assembly. You can see that there are bolts in the reverse side that don't appear to fix the case back. Those bolts are inboard. You can see here, 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 and here you have bolts that fix the case back. But if you look outboard, you can see that these bolts actually fix the bezel to the case back. So they thread all the way through from the case back into the bezel, and they hold the two together in a sort of sandwich construction. What's impressive here is that it really doesn't require any compromises, as the watch is 5 ATM or 50 meters water resistant, which is far more than the 2 to 3 you would expect to see on an ultra-thin watch of this class. So this case construction is robust. You can see individually numbered, and that the engravings on the case back are still quite pronounced and deep. That's important as it relates to the condition of the watch. Taking a quick look in profile, it has knife-like edges with the bezel slightly stepped inboard from the case, which creates the impression of an even thinner watch. The lugs are tapered and fine. There is a small and very subtle beveled flare on their edge, and then we have a JL branded crown. The bezel itself is almost completely flat, and it gives way to a sort of slate blue dial with a metallic sunburst pattern radiating out from center. All of the indices and numerals are applied rather than printed, which is an upscale feature, and I should mention not universal on ultra-thin watches. So you have hands at center, which are half-frosted Dauphine, and the half-frosted profile makes them more legible. We have quarter Arabic numerals, then faceted applique dart-style hour indices. Very simple. Jaeger-LeCoultre, the logo, Swiss-made. That's all you need. Turn it over, and we have caliber 849, which was introduced in 1994. It, in turn, was an update of the older 839, which, in turn, was an update of the 1953 Bausch 802 that LeCoultre had created, Jaeger-LeCoultre by then, had created for Audemars Piguet and Vacheron. So that movement, the 802, continues to do business on both brands' watches. The 802 was a little bit thin, even by ultra-thin standards. It was 1.65 millimeters thick. This is 1.85 millimeters thick, so it's a little bit more robust and more suitable for daily use. It also has more jewels at 19 and a higher beat rate at 21,600. It also has a slightly higher power reserve, with the older Bausch being 31 hours. This one is 35. But it is still thin, fine, and extraordinarily delicate, to the point that these movements are worked on by master watchmakers at the specialty horlogère workshop in Le Sentier, where for the most part, watchmakers who do minute repeaters and sonnerie watches generally work. So this movement has to be worked on by that caliber of watchmaker. So from a technical standpoint, you can see that it's a fairly small movement, which is no problem in a case of this size. Manual wind, 35-hour power reserve, traditional center wheel architecture, beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, pivots on 19 joules. You will note, as per the ratchet wheel atop the barrel, that in spite of its thin profile and potential delicacy, it does go through the Master 1000 hours control, which is a 1,000-hour fully cased-up test of chronometry, power reserve, and overall durability. Now, taking a look at some of the elements of the movement, you can see that this one, over time, has probably been through a few ultrasonics, because if you look at the bridges, you can see some of the rhodium is coming off of the brass. That's something that can ultimately be reapplied at a factory service, but it's important to note because you could see it in this image. You should know exactly what you're getting. The movement is beautifully made. First of all, it's like a pocket watch in miniature. You have the crown wheel, you have the ratchet wheel atop the barrel, you have the click and its spring to prevent the barrel from running backwards, center wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel, and then an enormous balance that's almost the radius of the movement. You can see that the regulator is black polished. And then we have nice bevels, which are reasonably hand-treated. You can see them lighting up and mirrored. This isn't the finest Valet du Jeu Philippe Dufour Romain Gauthier standard of beveling, but it is solidly above what you'll get in a standard JLC or even an Audemars Piguet. We have Côte de Genève across the bridges, blued screws, fired blue. We have a few locating pegs. You can see they're these little polished steel beads. They're actually pegs used to locate the bridges on the base plate with precision, but those peg heads have been polished, which is impressive. We have both black polished and blued screws here. You can see satination on the wheels, engine turning on the base plate, and in a sign of the attention to detail, you can see even the bridge underneath the balance that holds the anchor in place, that has been hand finished as well. Truly impressive, a little giant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.